What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all on analysisplayground.com. On YouTube, we're going to talk about the 10 greatest players ever currently in 2022. This list hasn't changed much since 2015 when I first started thinking about doing this list. I decided to publish my thoughts because I'm one of the guys that a lot of people want to know when it comes to basketball what I think. So 10, Kobe Bean Bryant. He is a person that has been defiant. He had won three straight titles with Shaq, lost and came back with Paul Gasol, Andrew Bynum, and Lamar Odom, and won in '09 against Dwight Howard. Won back to back again against my Boston Celtics in 2010, where he was able to exceed expectations and extend his legacy. After that, he kind of got injured, beat up, battered, and toe up, and ended up having a mediocre ending to his career where he got some gifted all-star appearances just because the fans loved him so much of what he embodied and what he was about on the basketball court. He also picked up some all NBA teams later in his career just because the shooting guard position was a little weak at that time, and he was able to coast to some of those. But overall, just a great defender, great scorer. Remember when he scored 81 points in the 60-point games and the 50-point games, averaging over 35 points a game. Was able to score at will sometimes. Wasn't the most efficient guy, but he did shoot, enough and did attack enough to where you had to respect him. You had to prepare for him each and every night just because you knew he was going to come at you and demand you to be on your game unless he was going to embarrass you or the person that was supposed to defend him or the entire team like he did against the Dallas Mavericks or the Toronto Raptors, where he was able to show them up and show them how they supposed to play. If you're not going to come to play, I'm just going to beat you myself. Not too many people can do that. It's difficult to do that, especially in the NBA when you're playing against the greatest teams and the greatest players. But Kobe was able to do it multiple times in his career, and he just has been so great at what he has done, which is defending and being a clone to Michael Jordan. And the fact that he can fly high and dunk and won MVP in 2008 and also won Finals MVP twice shows you that he can get it done. Even though he wasn't the most efficient, his aggressive style on both ends of the court was a championship brand of basketball, and he deserves credit for that. 5 titles total is what's going to get you on this list if you can win a bunch of them, especially if you can make multiple finals in a row or at least win multiple finals MVPs. And he's one of the very few people that was able to win the MVP and multiple finals MVP and multiple All-Star MVPs even in the same time span. And he was able to do it multiple times throughout his career and to show you how great he was as a player. Larry Bird, I have him at 9. It's hard to have a list without the great Larry Bird. 3 MVPs, two Finals MVPs. Was one of the great scorchers and 50, 40, 90 adapters. Could really shoot and score. Was a cold-blooded killer. Was a great defender for his position and for his size and for his athleticism. And was a guy that could really ball. And balled the Celtics multiple tough titles. Was able to stretch the floor, put the ball on the floor, was also able to shoot from distance and shoot right in your face, whether it was contested or not, and really was one of the hardest players to guard and one of the toughest decision makers in the game because he always picked you apart with his scoring or his playmaking ability. Just a great overall player, can defend, can score, and can actually shoot the ball from anywhere on the court. One of the very first people that was able to liberate you from anywhere on the court, and you had to respect them from everywhere on the court. Could even pass, could even post up a little bit and hit mid-range shots and even up and unders and even shoot over you in the face-up game was on lock. So it was really tough to guard Larry Joe Bird or Larry Legend. I'm a Celtics fan. I watched plenty of Larry Bird, and the fact that he was clutch just added to his repertoire of things that made him so heralded as a great player. Shaquille O'Neal, the fact that he won the 3 straight finals makes him better than Larry Bird. He went to 3 straight and won 3 straight finals MVPs. That don't include the fact that he went to the finals with Orlando, which would be his 5th finals before he was even 30. Then the fact that he also went to the finals with the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics in 2010, one of the most dominant players in NBA history, was a walk-in finals by itself. His teammates didn't really have to do much for him to average 38 points per game in the finals. He was a scoring champion. He was an MVP. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that he didn't work hard or he didn't reach his full potential, or he didn't play as hard as he should have. But when you look at what Shaq did in his prime, he was so dominant that they had to reconstruct the rules. He was so dominant that people said they couldn't stop him. They had to put 2 to 3 bodies on him, and even then, that wasn't enough to stop him from winning titles. He was just as dominant as Will Chamberlain. He just didn't pass as well, just didn't defend as well, but he scored just as good as anybody in NBA history. And like I said, he did win the scoring title. He did win the MVP, and he did win 3 straight Finals MVPs and went to the multiple finals appearances even before he was even old enough to be in the finals. He did it with Orlando. Even though he ended up falling short, he ended up going back and was able to get there multiple more times after that, even as a sidekick, to show you how dominant Shaq really was. I think his prime has been underrated because of his lack of what people thought he could have been or should have would have been. But what he was is what he always been, and that's a dominant force inside that paint. Will Chamberlain, number 7. I think that the fact that he can get to multiple finals and carry an offense, whether it's passing, rebounding, scoring, or just being a dominant defensive player protecting the rim, the fact that he can mold himself into whatever he wanted to be as a center, to show you his ability to adapt to anything, any situation, any personnel, and the fact that he did win with Philadelphia, he did win with the Lakers, show you that he can get the job done. He just had tougher competition that played better as teams, that played better without him sometimes too, as some of the teams he played on. But the fact that he was able to dominate and have so many robust stats of just being a great individual player, this is greatest player, not greatest team player. Um, the fact that he was able to win multiple MVPs, multiple Finals MVPs, multiple records that he still holds to this day, whether it's the 100 points or the rebound records or even the triple double records for a center that he lost to Jokic. But the fact that he held it for so many decades shows you how great of a player that he was. The biggest knock on him was the fact that he couldn't win multiple titles, couldn't get past Russell, couldn't get past Kareem and other big men and other teams, but he was able to get past them enough to win multiple titles before he retired. And even though he retired early, he still had left a little bit more of desire, just like Shaq, but he still dominated on the court enough for the point where you think about greatness, you think about dominance, his name is always brought up because of the records that he still holds and the things that he had done in the past has still last so long. Bill Russell, number 6. The fact that he wasn't a great offensive player is why I didn't have him as high. I know he won 11 championships. I know the fact that he was dominant defensively, a solid passer, the fact that he can score with the lobs and the dunks, and he can shoot the free throw decently was the reason why I didn't have him as high. But the fact that he was a great team player, he knew how to set screens, he knew how to get guys involved, he knew how to command the defense and command the paint is the reason why I have him so high. Just because he knew his role, he knew his game, he knew his limitations, and he knew how great he was and how great he was at what he did best, and that's what made him such a great player. He stuck to what he did the best and really molded himself into one of the greatest defensive players ever, one of the best passers, big man of all time, and one of the best screen setters and leaders and vocal leaders in NBA history. Magic Johnson, he was a triple-double waiting to happen. He can pass very well, was one of the best passers, if not the best passer of all time, even though he don't have all the assist records. He has some of the best ones, and the fact that he can rebound with 6'9", playing the power forward, center, and point guard position, all rolled in one, showed you how great of a player he was. And the fact that he's got that set shot, he was clutch when it needed to happen, was able to carry a team to the finals without Kareem, was able to finish off a Dr. J tough Sixers team without Kareem finishing the series, and was able to still win Finals MVP as a rookie, and was able to continue to get to the finals multiple times after that, and was one of the biggest icons of the sport when it comes to team play, flash, style, brilliance. And he also wasn't a terrible defender, not the greatest defender, but not a terrible one. But the fact that he was a one-man offense and was able to put on a show really extended his career. The only problem with him is he retired a little too early. He retired in his mid-30s. You wish he could have got a couple more seasons in there to really extend his legacy, he would be higher if it wasn't for him retiring early. That's his biggest Achilles heel, and he still was an All Star slash MVP caliber player when he retired. And unfortunately for him, he had to pack it up early by his own decisions. But at least he went out the way he wanted to go out, and that's the best terms to go out for the most part. Tim Duncan, I have him higher than most people just because his prime lasted long. He was able to win 3 MVPs. Two MVPs and 3 Finals MVPs early in his career, and he was able to stretch it to last great even as a role player. And the fact that he was a great defensive player, a great offensive player, and a great passer and a great screen setter puts him above Duncan and Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell. Puts him above Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, and Shaq. He was able to get the multiple finals, only losing really one. And he was able to win 5 titles total when he was able to lead those teams defensively and also be able to dominate. Even later in his career, he was still putting up great numbers as a 38, 35, 36 year old, still showing you that he can still, even at his reduced version of himself, he can still be effective and efficient and still be a force in that paint. And it just show you that the big fundamentals had his fundamentals locked down so well that he aged gracefully. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He aged a little bit better than Duncan just because he was able to accept his role a little earlier and was able to adopt MVP without any enormous help with an older Oscar Robertson. Was able to win that Finals MVP early in his career. Was able to win more MVPs and was able to win the same amount of Finals MVPs, if not a little bit more. And that just shows you that it's close between him and Duncan. I think it's more comparable than people think. But when it comes to scoring, Kareem passes him up. And defense is more Duncan. Scoring is more Kareem. But Kareem was a solid defender. Had to post jump shot. Had to post with the sky hook and also could hit a mid-range jumper. Was a solid free throw shooter just like Duncan for a 7-footer. And the fact that he was able to be dominant for so long and for so many decades show how great of a career Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has had. Even when he was dual center, he was balling, came in, was automatically an MVP candidate, and was able to lead them to the playoffs and was able to lead them to a title not that far after, showing you that tank for Kareem was legit, just like tanking for Duncan, and they was able to win titles right away because they were so dominant as young 20-year-old players, and they was able to extend their careers with longevity and still be great role players. But the best at the prime and at the end of their careers is LeBron and MJ. LeBron has still been able to play at a 20-point scorer level late in his 30s, and he was able to still get the rebounds and assists, still efficient enough to where you wonder how long can LeBron play. He's going to have the scoring record. He's going to have a season where he led the NBA in assists. He's going to have a season where he led the NBA in scoring multiple times. He's going to have seasons where he won multiple Finals MVPs, multiple MVPs, and he gonna have a great resume in the stats to back it up. Even had long playoff runs multiple times and have a bunch of playoff records that's going to stand the test of time for a long time because nobody had deep playoff runs like LeBron. And the fact that he won multiple times, he lost more than he won like Magic, but he was able to get one more. That'd be the question. If not, he going to have a bunch of stats and a bunch of accolades that only MJ has better. And number one has to be MJ. Has 10 scoring titles, more MVPs, more Finals MVPs, more championships than LeBron. Was able to average more points as a smaller guy. He was able to get, all those scoring titles being 6'6". Not only that, he was able to win more titles, and the fact that he never lost a championship round, never went to a game 7, and was a reason why LeBron started playing basketball. His favorite player and the player he wanted to be, the player he idolized, was Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And the fact that that's the case of the guy that you wanted to be is the guy that you're trying to chase is hilariously ironic. But I think MJ is going to be the greatest for a long time. When you look at the past, and he was able to lead the finals in assists against Magic. He was able to win Defensive Player of the Year as a 6'6" guard. He was able to win MVP as a 6'6" guard. He was able to be a dominant scorer at 6'6", leading the NBA in scoring with 38 points a game, and was able to average 30 points for a career And not only that, he was able to lead a team without a center. No David Robinson, no Hakeem, no Shaquille O'Neal, no Moses Malone, no Kevin McHale, no Kevin Love. He had Scottie Pippen as his second best player and Dennis Rodman, who wasn't even known as a scorer, as his third best player. And he was able to win titles even without Dennis Rodman, which was the first three-peat. Then he was able to win three titles with Dennis Rodman. Show you how dominant, how great Michael Jeffrey Jordan was. There's no player that will be better, no player that is better. And you look at the shoes, you look at the jumping, the dunking, the air contortion. It's all because of Jordan maximizing and putting in the work that mattered, and even being defiant, failing and failing over and over again, and not quit, not giving up, not switching team, not asking out, not demanding for trade, not trying to team up, just saying this is what we got, this is what we have to deal with, this is what we have to do, and we're doing it by example, leading by example, and getting it done by putting in the work in himself too, and then winning those titles against the Portland Trail Blazers and the Lakers and the Seattle Supersonics and Charles Barkley and the Suns and multiple against the Jazz. Shows you that you can get it done. You can do it without asking for trades or teaming up or asking for help or even leaving. He won them all with Chicago. They only won titles with Jeffrey Jordan. All six of their titles are with Michael Jordan. They haven't won titles since they had Michael Jordan, and that was over 30 years ago almost. And that just shows you how great and how dominant he was as a man and as a player. Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever. It's not even close. And he did it smaller than a center, smaller than a small forward. He did it as a shooting guard, and he got it done more bigger than Kareem, more than Duncan, more than LeBron. Nobody has more titles than him on this list besides Bill Russell. And he did it as the best player, as a leader, as a defender, as a passer, as a rebounder, and as a guy that can get triple doubles. And he also shot great from the free throw line, the 3-point line, and from the mid range. He was so good in the post that they called him fade away Jordan. He faded away so good he thought it was a sky hook like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but it was just a jump shot. And his jump shot was so patented that everybody called it the MJ, fade away, perfect. And Michael Magic and Bird, you rolled them all into one. It made Michael Jordan again, just because he did all of them things in one in playoff series where he led the NBA in scoring for a series, led the NBA in assists, and he even had a season where he led the NBA in triple doubles at the end of the season. So Michael Jordan could do anything he put his mind to. He could get it done, and he can do it, and you can do it too if you put in the work. And that's the image that he left behind. That's a mindset that he left behind because he was able to do it, and he was able to lead by example, and his team followed, and they was able to win 6 titles, which is the most outside of Bill Russell on this list. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll respond to all comments for the most part. Other than that, like on Facebook. The Facebook page will be in the description. Also, like this video and share to help this channel grow. Let me know what y'all guys' thoughts is on the greatest player ever. Why you think it's MJ, why you think it's not, why you think it's somebody else, and who you think is the greatest player ever. Tell me y'all list. My list will also be posted in the comment section below. So guys, check that out. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys rest of y'all Sunday, and see y'all on the weekdays on Monday through Friday.